Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. Today we're going to talk about the Aegis Eclipse's FAQ, the stealth components and mechanics, and some more information about bombers, where they fit into the pantheon of ships in Star Citizen and how they compare to each other. The various bombers and roles as defined by CIG are: the Gladiator is a short-range bomber capable of absorbing and dishing out damage. It's basically this brawler fighter bomber for use in carriers. The Eclipse is a mid-range stealth bomber capable of sneaking behind enemy lines and delivering a high damage strike, but it shouldn't stay in combat due to its defensive shortcomings. It's this stealth dive bomber, basically. The Harbinger is a mid-range to long-range endurance bomber, carrying more weapons and armament than a Gladiator, and being able to take more of a pounding and survive deeper in space, but without any form of stealth capabilities like the Eclipse has. The Retaliator is a dedicated long-range bomber, able to carry the most ordnance and the most men, weaponry, and have the most modularity, as well as being able to defend itself via turrets. It can sustain itself and its crew much deeper in the verse, and the idea is for striking targets a long way away, and that long endurance nature. The pantheon of operational range of these bombers, from longest to shortest, is currently the Polaris, which is obviously that torpedo corvette, the Retaliator, the Harbinger, the Eclipse, and finally the shortest range, the Gladiator. In order of speed, from fastest to slowest, it's the Eclipse, which is the fastest, the Gladiator, the Harbinger, the Retaliator, and then the slowest being the Polaris, as it's obviously a capital ship. There is no cloaking in Star Citizen, and stealth revolves around being hard to detect in-game via the systems like radars and scanners. So you'll manage emissions, choose the correct components, use the environment to mask your signatures, amongst other things. The Sabre and Eclipse are both built from the ground up around the concept of using stealth, whereas the Hornet Ghost was retrofitted effectively for that mechanic. So you'll get the best stealth gameplay out of the box using a Sabre dogfighter or an Eclipse torpedo bomber. Even their hulls are built with that cross-section detection in mind. The actual physical hull design, angles and size are all important factors when thinking about cross-section detection, literally your cross-section, how it can be seen. Stealth class components. They currently have components focused on military, civilian, industrial, competition, and now stealth. These component types have their own specific strengths and weaknesses and kind of focuses. They have a rating of A to D, A being the best in class at that focus. Stealth class items of each item type provide or aim to provide the lowest emissions for IR and EM signatures, at normally the expense of raw output durability. That's their kind of focus. They move away from raw output and durability, but go for that low emissions. The Eclipse comes default with all stealth class items, whereas the Sabre comes with some military and some stealth, and the Hornet Ghost comes with civilian and some stealth. The Eclipse and Sabre will be able to purchase better stealth equipment, and other ships will be able to purchase this stealth equipment and components too. Ships will be detectable, and ships like the Tracker and Terrapin will be very good at finding ships like the Eclipse, but it's still going to be a skilled job scanning them down, and ships will be using their low signatures and their environments to their advantage to try and evade that, or to try and get into position to detect areas better. The Eclipse. So the Eclipse's concept is now complete, and it will enter the development pipeline where it gets fleshed out, basically. It's still going to be some time before we see the Eclipse in-game, though. The FAQ did, however, give us some more insight into some of the ship's particulars, and if you want to see my ship buyer's guide of that as well, explaining more about the Eclipse and itself, please check that out. Links to that and everything else we're discussing in the links, description, all that sort of jazz below. The ship is geared towards being a stealth torpedo bomber, very, very much focused on that. Something like the Vanguard's going to be more flexible, but this is super geared at carrying 3 size 9 torpedoes, and they don't have any plans now to allow you to use smaller torpedoes or more missiles or anything like that. They want those 3 size 9s to be kind of its signature. And they're not really planning any extra changeable modules. You're going to be able to change the ship's systems, though. Just there's not going to be any swappable modules or anything like that. It does have 2 size 2 Gatling weapons that are integrated into it, so it's not completely defenseless, but they are fixed internally and they can't be gimbaled. Those size 9 torpedoes it carries, those 3 size 9, are designed for a stealth dive bomber focus. They are the same size as the Retaliator's torpedoes that it uses. Obviously, the Retaliator has 6 of them, if it's in its torpedo configuration, a cargo bay of 2 and a cargo bay of 4, full of them. But those missiles, or the torpedoes, are each 9 meters by 0.9 by 0.9 meters. So those large torpedoes are going to take some time to lock onto smaller targets or fighters as well. So it's not going to be the best choice during a dogfight, although at a pinch, some people might be able to use them effectively. And those torpedoes are going to be able to lock onto targets, both space, ground, and air. Speed and agility of that Eclipse, combining the speed of the Gladius, which is, I suppose, above average speed-wise in a straight line, and the agility of a Gladiator, which I suppose is below average for agility, and that's its major downfall, and when it's being attacked, its agility is pretty poor. The ship isn't tough either. It's going to have similar durability to that of the 300i. It uses 2 engines that generate less heat than a single engine, and it has a medium fuel tank, whereas the rest of its components are small or light. Operational range. In regards to its operational range, the Eclipse is between the Gladiator's quite short carrier range and the Vanguard Harbinger's mid-range. It's suited for a single mission, then returning home for refueling and rearming, and it's got that in mind with all of its components. The Eclipse is designed to work with other ships, a pair of them. For example, attacking an Idris with the Idris's shields down could cripple the ship, but it requires backup to finish or to capture or to board those enemy ships. Smaller ships could be taken by surprise and entirely destroyed or rendered defeated by a pair of Eclipses. Other bombers have more stamina and able to contribute to a fight over a longer period of time than an Eclipse would be. So the Eclipse, it fires its payload and then should disengage. The price of this ship. So the price of the ship is from $250. You can get it $250 if you're purchasing it as a war bond, which is no store credit, or $275 if you're using any form of store credit. Eventually, that ship will be $330 once it's flyable, and they're going to start giving those figures to us more often now with these concept sales. The ship pipeline's in a position where they can go, well, this is where we want it to be eventually. Now, the reason for that price, they say, is because of the ordnance and stealth components that it has. But for me, it's very much that it's getting a tax for being a specialist and rarity ship in the same way that alien ships are more expensive. Typically, specialist military ships will be expensive too. It's the kind of idea in my head. They are not looking at components or items that allow the Eclipse to smuggle or do stealth cargo runs. It has no cargo capacity. It's extremely focused in its role. The Eclipse currently will not fit into the Polaris's hangar, but it will fit into the Javelin as well as the Idris's hangar. If you would like to find out more info about the Eclipse, please check out my ship buyer's guide, links below, and everything else we've talked about, links below. Every month we give away a ship. For May, it's an Avenger Titan. All you need to do is be subscribed to my YouTube channel and comment on any of my Star Citizen videos during that month on the YouTubes. Do you have any questions for me about stealth, the Eclipse, or anything else we've discussed? Do you have any questions about Star Citizen's development in general? I'm currently working on new ship roles for 3.0, as well as various head tracker stuff like the Track IR and the Egg Tracker for a guide as well. So if you've got any questions or suggestions for those as well, please chuck them in the comments below. A special thank you to all of my Patreons who allow me to create the amount of content I do. If you are interested in being one of them, check out the links below again. They're all there for Patreons. It really does help. You guys are amazing, and thank you for the amount of support. I've been going through quite a rough time recently, not in the best mental state. Thank you so much for your continued support, the kind messages, and I hope that me sharing how I'm feeling, obviously not having it home day to day, how I'm feeling, can allow other people to get some help, know that you're not alone, know that it's okay to open up. Please don't forget to like and subscribe as well, guys, and I will see you in the verse.